Hello there and welcome back to another edition of Silly Car Showdown. Today we are taking a look at the 2005 Subaru Impreza WRX STI. This car was requested by Azza, because of course it was, because Azza owns a Hawkeye Impreza. Not entirely unlike the one I used to have, because it is the Hawkeye Impreza I used to have. Anyways, it is actually quite a lot unlike, because that one is not a WRX STI and this one is. So we're going to see how this gets on. Of course, stock four-wheel drive, so it should be pretty good. However, as it has requested that we keep the standard engine. So that should make this build a little bit interesting. In case you're wondering, those are the engine swaps for this car and for pretty much every Super Impreza. And don't worry, I have had quite a few Super Imprezas requested to me, so I'm sure we'll get a look in at those at some point. So that's kind of why I went with this one, because it seemed pretty interesting. Anyways, this car's actually kind of glitched out because that's apparently not the adjustable bumper, and that one is, and that one isn't. I guess we'll go for the cage because it's not adjustable, so sure. We will go for that wing because that wing looks quite cool. Sure, I'll have a tow hook on the back of it, and we will also have apparently drag reducing mud flaps. Okay, and do we want some rally lights, which apparently minus £6, or we can have a snorkel, or we can have that. Do you know what? I fancy the lights today. We'll have a look at the snorkel later on. Anyways, of course, as usual, we are going to want the race tyres. No adjustable track for this car, which is interesting, but 275s all round combined with four-wheel drive should make this a pretty darn good. We are going to upgrade all of this stuff as per usual. Driveline brings out a hell of a lot of weight. Then again, I guess it is a four-wheel drive car, so that does make sense. We are going to have some brakes. We are going to put it on race suspension, which kind of ruins the point of all the rally parts, but be quiet. So we will go with that. Roll cage, we will want that, and the weight reduction. Now, let's see how much the standard, I believe it was a 2.5 litre flat 4 in these later second gen Imprezas. We'll see how much performance we can get out of it. I'm expecting a decent amount of power, probably in the region of 500 or so, but I could be surprised, I don't know. Anyways, PI is climbing nicely, probably as you'd expect it to. Considering, again, four-wheel drive, and it's a relatively modern car, so it should be pretty well set up out of the gate. And we will go for that, and we end up with 620 horsepower. Okay, 620 horsepower, 540 foot-pound torque, 2,754 pounds of weight, which is very impressive. 2.6 seconds to 60, top speed of 203 miles per hour. Yeah, this should be, in theory, pretty darn good. And I say in theory, I can probably say in practice, I can almost guarantee this will be a very nice car. But, of course, it is on the lower end of the power spectrum compared to some of the vehicles we have had. And S186886 isn't exactly particularly high PI, so it'll be very interesting to see where this car goes in terms of our leaderboard. Anyway, to find out, of course, we need to take it to the track, and that is where we're heading right now. Well, here we are in Edinburgh to test out our Subaru Impreza, and I'm expecting decent things from this car, even if it's not the quickest in the world. It is going to get 5 laps to set the best time it possibly can. Our current leader is the Honda NSXR GT Hybrid with a 142.500 of this car unlikely to beat that. In terms of where I hope this car can go, if it could beat the benchmark car we had, the TVR Speed 12, which set a time of 151.482, I'd say that'd be pretty darn good. I'm expecting good things from this vehicle, just because, you know, it is a Super Impreza, which I've long insisted in terms of Forza. If you are, you know, not sure on, you know, you want to build a car, but you're not quite sure what you want to build it to, or, you know, what class you want to build it for, what you want to build it for, so on and so forth, and you need a car which can just sort of cover all bases. The Impreza is a great one because they make great circuit cars, great drag cars, great, you know, maybe drift cars, I'm not sure, more gymkhana cars, You know, Imprezas and Evos both make fantastic choices for that because of their four-wheel drive and pretty good platforms. You know, they are very good in terms of being flexible. Probably one of the most flexible, easy to build cars in the entire game, because you have to try really very, very hard indeed to build an Impreza or an Evo wrong, just because they're four-wheel drive. So basically all you're really going to get from these cars is a slight bit of understeer when stock, but you can rectify that, you know, with different upgrades, or, you know, you can put a mad amount of power in it and still keep, you know, a little bit of the understeer. Understeer is a hell of a lot easier to deal with than oversteer, if you ask me. Anyways, this first lap, this car is quick. Like, very quick. In fact, on this first showcase lap, it's going to do very well indeed. A 148.416 on the first lap. From a Subaru Impreza with 640 horsepower. Again, you know, 640 horsepower is nothing to scoff at. That's a lot of power. But yeah, it just shows you sort of the mega powerful machines that we have. They, you know, obviously it's called Silly Car Showdown. The cars are designed to be silly. But you really do not need all that power. Not whatsoever. You know, you can... handling is important to a car, probably, well, it is more important than power, and at a certain stage, you know, you're just chucking power in for the sake of making the car sillier. Again, Silly Car Showdown, but in terms of building cars for practical senses, you don't need to be the fastest car in a straight line. Sure, it's nice to build for straight line occasionally, but don't overdo it. Then again, you don't overdo it on handling either, because if you've got no straight line speed, you've got nothing, and that's where the Super Impreza comes in, because this car... in, you know, the perfect balance of handling and speed. The Impreza is a pretty quick car, and it's a pretty good handling car as well. Although, that being said, nothing would save it from that. I don't know if we snagged that checkpoint. Yeah, we did. Okay, good. This lap's not going to be quite as quick, but nevertheless, you can cut things up. I think it's pretty easy to say at this point it's the best driving car we've had. In SCS, it's certainly the easiest thing I've driven. You know, the Transit last time was fantastic. That's the easiest rear-wheel drive car we've had. But this is the easiest thing we've had, you know, even compared to the Stelvio. As much as the Stelvio was great, and the Stelvio... and I'm going to miss that turn. Cock and bollocks. Also, apparently the lap was quicker, on 147.639. This thing... could very well potentially beat the GT40, which was a leaderboard leader, you know, at one time, and it was for a fair old while as well. I am, again, you know, I'm not going to beat around the bush. I expected the Impreza to be quick, but, you know, we've had, you know, one lap where I launched from a standing start, one lap that had one very messy section, and I mean, this lap's not going to be quicker, obviously, because unfortunately I missed the turning, which is, you know, again, Impreza understeer, but, yeah, this is, I mean, what do you want from me? It's incredible. It truly is incredible. How quick this thing really is. If I can get everything right in this car, which I can honestly do just because of how easy it is to drive, we could be on for, you know, a top 3 car here, which is pretty incredible, again, considering, you know, it's running its standard engine. It's running, you know, it's only S1886 again, you know, it's not even an S2 class car. It's pretty high up S1, and a lot of the cars that we've driven here are S1. I think the Cayman might have been S2 though, and it's topped that off, which is quite impressive. And the Cayman had the big tyres as well, of course. Yeah, definitely very impressive from the Subaru. Alright, let's see if this lap can go any better than our last one. It should do. I'm going to brake nice and early for this bit. That bit does catch me out quite a bit though, as you've probably seen quite a few times. Through this low speed section, I mean, it's obviously going to be quick. It's obviously going to be mighty, mighty quick. Four-wheel drive cars are always going to benefit through sort of sector 1 of this track up to about this point here. But the Subaru might have been doing the best, because the Alpha, again, you know, I've just talked about building cars with usable power as opposed to just building cars with all the power. And the Stelvio probably was quite overpowered for what it was. It could have made do with, you know, 300 less horsepower, and it probably would have drove better. It might have even been quicker. So, that's the caveat you play. It's not massively quick towards Glasgow Smile, 145, about the same sort of speeds we're seeing from the likes of the Cadet. Of course, it's nowhere near as hard to drive and get that speed out of it as the Cadet, but again, it's not making all that much power. It's making a lot of boost, but it's not making all that much power. So, yeah, these Subaru Imprezas, man, if we get one of these with a bigger engine, and I'm talking probably 900 horsepower, I'd say, if we can get a 900 horsepower Impreza, and it can handle as well as this, we could be on to a very, very serious leaderboard topper for a good amount of time. Of course, you know, we haven't had anything too majorly hypercars, just because people want to see actual silly cars, which is nice to see, you know, instead of just seeing all the supercars in the world. Oh my god. A 145.958, this thing knocks off the GT40, and it can go even quicker, because there was an issue on that fourth lap. This thing's mighty impressive. Mighty, mighty, mighty impressive indeed. It's the superb Subaru. It really is. Not Skoda Superb, that's not so superb. Not as superb as this Subaru. But this Subaru is very mighty indeed. A little bit of an issue through there. Try to correct everything. I mean, yeah, I can even correct that. In most cars, that would spell the end of the world, especially with the sort of cars that we drive, but in this, that was pretty good. Also, I sort of cut that up slightly, because I was expecting to smash into that wall, and yeah, I mean, you know, it's not got the quickest steering in the world. Four-wheel drive does mean there is some understeer, but it's perfectly manageable. Again, easy car to drive. So very, very easy to drive, and easy to drive quick as well. It's the sort of car where, honestly, the more I drive it, the more I fall in love with it, and it is the sort of car I feel like I could drive in one of these games. I don't know if you've ever had this before, where you just sort of hot lap with the car for hours on end, and, you know, you don't even realise the time has gone. This feels like one of those sort of cars. It's that nice to drive. It's just so relaxing. You know, you could stick on some music and just chill and hot lap and win all of the things with this car, because, yeah, it is just that nice to drive. Anyways, a little bit of understeer coming up there. The understeer hills trying to take their toll, but as we go towards the line, it's not going to go any quicker, unfortunately. But yeah, I'm a little bit pissed off, because I do think this could have gone quicker. I think it, honest to God, could have had early 145s if I changed a few little bits and bobs with my strategy for taking the track. But, you know, at the end of the day, a 145.958, I am not going to complain with a time like that, especially because that means this car will go into third place. It is, you know, it is a fair way off of the Stelvio, but, I mean, it beats the GT40 EcoBoost. It beats the Cayman by, you know, 2 and a bit seconds. Beats the Gremlin by over 3 seconds. It beats what I thought it would have got around the time of the TVR Speed 12. It beats that by 5.5 seconds. It's incredible. It really is a very incredible car. If you haven't driven an Impreza, I mean, you probably have. I mean, the game practically tries to give you one from the start of the gate, and these cars are very popular. But if you haven't, you seriously need to just try these cars and build one up and all the rest of it, because again, you find me a situation where the Subaru Impreza doesn't work, say for drifting, and I'll be very impressed indeed. But anyways, thank you all very much for watching this edition of Silly Car Showdown. If you'd like to request cars for the series, there is a couple of different ways you can do so. You can comment on the video below, whether it is on my channel or on HG Central. I do read all of the comments, I go through them every couple of days or so to add things to my request list. Alternatively, you can do my preferred method, which is join my Discord, link in the description, and request the cars in the request page on there. Also in the description there is a link to the request list where you can see what cars have already been requested. If you've enjoyed me, my name's Emile. If you're watching this on HD Central and you don't know who I am, I make relatively subpar content which is nowhere near as good as the Subaru, but you can come check it out, so that would be cool. And I did own a Subaru once. I own a Honda now, but anyways. Thank you all very much for watching, and until next time, always, always, always choose the Impreza when given the choice, and farewell.